Life on Tenors. Oh my God, it's been way too long. It's been so long. But it is lovely to be with you finally again today. Of course, I am Angela Trapp, your co-host, and my partner to the left of me on my screen.
Hi, I'm going to introduce myself as Dr. Vanessa Walker today because there's a good reason for it. And Angela's going to tell you all about it.
That's so mysterious. Okay, why is she being called Dr. Walker today? She is being referred to Dr. Walker today because today we are coming to you to talk about COVID-19 vaccine.
Yes.
That's why we're here today. We're here to talk about the vaccine and to address some of the concerns around its safety. So the way I would like to do this, Vanessa, is I'm going to actually ask you questions about your experience and then your thoughts on the safety of the vaccine.
Yep.
Vanessa, guys, she's taken both shots.
I have. I've been totally vaccinated.
Did you have Pfizer or Moderna? Which one?
I had the Pfizer vaccine.
So yep. Let's start there, Vanessa. Tell me quick, what shot one, what was that like, the first shot?
Shot one was a walk in the park. Nothing, no symptoms at all. A little tiny bit of a sore arm, but that was it. I had zero symptoms. I think now that I remember it, I think that night I ended up having a little bit of kind of like where I felt like I was about to get the flu, maybe, and then it just went away, like completely no symptoms came in at all at that point. The second vaccine, the second dose, if you guys watch our channel, you'll see it was a little bit rough. I felt like I had the flu for about 24 hours, a good solid 24 hours. But then the symptoms totally went away, and now I'm completely 100% normal with zero problems. Other than I am now protected from COVID. So I'm very excited about that.
Side effect for it. Okay, so let's delve into this because we want to wrap this up in 15 minutes. Vanessa, as an African-American woman, I have concerns about the vaccine. My concerns is we have African-Americans experienced a history of being treated as guinea pigs. Namely, everyone quotes the Tuskegee experiment, and I'm more familiar with that. That's one of the things, but I'm hearing so many other fears out there, not just from my community, just but from the community at large, about things about it even changes your DNA. Like, oh my God, you're not going to take that. It's actually going to change your DNA.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the one thing I want to start off with is that I am not here to convince anybody that they have to take this vaccine. I want to just make sure that we're laying out the facts and giving everybody a better understanding, because you really can't make a choice without having a good understanding as to what you're choosing between. Okay. So the main thing that I want to talk about in regards to that first question about does it affect your DNA? It absolutely does not. It has nothing to do with your DNA. What this vaccine is it's called mRNA. It's a messenger RNA. And basically it's the blueprint to the creation of a small part of the virus. It's called the spike protein. And this protein is used to enter your cells. So the genius thing about it is that basically what is delivered into your body is the information that it takes, the blueprint, to build the spike protein. Then your cells incorporate that mRNA or message RNA into the cell. It doesn't touch our DNA. It doesn't mingle with our DNA. It does nothing with it. We just use that little blueprint to start making spike proteins. And we put those spike proteins out into our body, and we start making antibodies against those spike proteins. And it gears our immune system up so that if it does see COVID-19 in the flesh, the real virus, it's actually the SARS-CoV-2 virus, if we see that virus, that we're already going to know how to fight it. And so that's what the vaccine does. Now, after it's injected into your body and your cells take it in, it's a protein. It breaks down. And so it'll just leave. It'll disappear. It doesn't stay in your body for decades. It literally goes away. And so your body breaks it down the way it breaks down any other material that comes into your bloodstream, medications, anything, it breaks it down. And so that's basically how it gets in your body and does what it does. So that answers your question about the DNA. What other question did you have about it?
So I understand that. One of the, for me, I can speak for myself. One of the things that make me uncomfortable about this is that it seems like this happened overnight. Like they literally created this overnight. When typically, in normal circumstances, a vaccine, how long does it take to develop?
Oh, 5-10 years sometimes.
5 years.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, boom, we have a vaccine. And
Yeah.
not to be, negative or, but everything's driven by money. So it's like, okay, you're gonna make millions and millions of dollars from this vaccine. Was that your motivation? So you can introduce it, whoever introduced it first, Moderna or Pfizer, so you can corner the market. And if so, did you skip any safety steps in that process to be first to hand it out to the public and make all of this money? Because they are going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, no, understood. It's not unreasonable to have those fears or concerns. Absolutely. What I will say to the question about the timeline, no other time in human history has the world come together to actually fight the same problem. I mean, we ignore the environment. We ignore all kinds of things. We ignore starvation and water shortage and human trafficking. I mean, we try to attach it, but we don't attack it like one solid operating unit. And that's basically what happened. We are seeing what can happen when everybody puts their minds together toward a certain goal. Now, is there the fact that there will be money to be made? Absolutely. There will be money to be made on this vaccine. So I'm not going to poo-poo that at all. I'm definitely not. But the other thing when it comes to timeline for vaccines, you have to do the research about the vaccine. People don't realize that messenger RNA vaccines have been undergoing research since the 90s. This is not a new technology. This has been in the works, and they've been looking at it for other viruses and other, the Ebola virus, all kinds of things. People have been looking at this vaccine for other viruses, this technology, okay? So you have technology that already was in the making, and then you have this new virus come along that every government, every company, everybody in the world says, oh my gosh, this could be a devastating illness that kills millions and millions of people. We need to stop this. So everybody put their best scientists, they put all their money, they put all their efforts. And then the number one cool thing about it is that people volunteered. Because for vaccines, it is so hard to get people to volunteer to be a part of a vaccine trial. And that frequently is a big step. I mean, you have to ask people, will you please join? Will you please join? And it's like pulling teeth to get people to sign up for vaccine trials because the burning platform isn't there. It's a what's in it for me? Why do I care if we get a vaccine? A lot of people cared about this. They saw people dying. They saw loved ones dying. They knew this. They had to step up and volunteer. So we had people join like this was a war. And so when you have all the money in the world, the brightest scientists in the world, and all of the volunteers in the world ready to make this happen, it gets done in a year. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing science play out in the way that it could happen if we all always work together towards one goal.
So, and it's also true that they were actually working on this prior to COVID.
Yeah.
Because this is a new process in terms of creating a vaccine.
Yeah, they were working on this technology, this type of vaccine for years. They just said, oh, wow, this is a great opportunity. Let's use this. And they had all the funding and all the volunteers in the world to get it done. Okay. And remember, the government actually paid the companies to start building it. The government paid them to get the drug out and going before it was even approved to make sure that there was no loss to them. Okay. They were going to buy this drug, whether it flopped or it didn't flop. And so the government removed a lot of the barriers that are usually there in advancing science and advancing technology. So I know that people will still look at that as a possible part of the conspiracy. I don't know how, how much more I can do to break that. All I know is that this is possible. This is definitely what happens when we put all of our efforts together towards one goal.
So I have one other question for you. So what is if my concern is, wow, this is brand new, 5 or 10 years from down the road, they'll say, oops, it caused cancer. I'm just,
I know.
it's one of those things. It's
yeah.
We've seen it happen. We've seen it happen with medication, things like that. And then they come back and they say, oh, mistake.
Yeah. So I think that when you look at what the vaccine is actually doing, there is no reason to think physiologically that it is going to cause cancer or these long-term side effects. And when we look at vaccines in general, we have great data on vaccines long-term. And all this vaccine does is stimulate your immune system. So we have wonderful data looking at vaccines that stimulate the immune system. The only difference to this vaccine is that it stimulates it in a different way. It's just a novel way of going about stimulating it. But what they're injecting into you, we have no evidence that it causes cancer. The types of materials that are getting injected have no evidence that it causes cancer. And so the fear that this would cause cancer, to me, is definitely low down on the list. I mean, I would, if I needed to give this vaccine to my children to protect them, I would give it to them, because I am so in tune with the physiology and how this works, the idea behind it, that it being able to cause cancer is just very, very unlikely.
That was going to be one of my questions. Would you give that to your beautiful kids? That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah. And the only reason I wouldn't give it to them right now is because first of all, we need the vaccines for people that are at risk, right? My kids are super healthy, young. They're not at risk. I'm not worried about them. Right. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, we want to make sure that we get everybody vulnerable vaccinated with a limited supply. And then I would like to see how the vaccine does in children. Now, mind you, I would sign them up for a vaccine trial. That's how I would sign them up for a vaccine trial for little kids. I don't have a problem with that. But I think that people want to see it working in children before they put their kids at risk. So I understand why other people would say, I'm not going to be so just, yes, I would totally, everybody is, to themselves. I'm not so much worried about kids. They're not a big spreader. They're not a big person at risk. They're not so at risk of the disease. But in advancement of science and looking at how safe the profile is across, all age groups up to, we've looked at 16-year-olds and up. I don't see a reason why kids, and my kids have had every vaccine known to man, and they are beautifully healthy. They've not had any problems. I can't imagine any reason they wouldn't do well with this vaccine too.
Well, I'm one of those people that was definitely hell no way am I taking this vaccine. When it first came, when they first said, oh, we have a vaccine, it was like, hell no, I wouldn't take a shot.
Yeah.
But I will tell you what has changed my mind is I did my own research, and I guess I'm talking to you YouTubers. I'm definitely not trying to convince you. I'm just sharing with you what I did. I did my own research. I went to the FDA site. I went to the different Moderna and different sites, and that's how I made my decision. And then also I took into consideration the possible impact that it can have on you. Because the thing about COVID is, I think we talked about this, Vanessa, when we were together, is that for you, you can have it and maybe you'll get a cold, maybe you'll get a fever, and that's it. And the next person to you can contract it, and unfortunately, it can possibly take their life.
Yeah.
So what happens is so convoluted. And what I say to my family is, it's like playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
You don't know how you're going to react to this virus. Yes, maybe it'll be a cold and that's it, or not. So this is my decision. This is how I made that decision. So I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to play Russian roulette with that one. I'll go ahead and take the vaccine. And I'm going to say this: I hate needles. I hate needles. I hate needles. I am going to vlog my journey when I go take the shot because my son is going to go with me and hold my hand like I did for him when he was little and he got that.
Oh, that's awesome. And then we will
So,
post that if Angela's okay with it.
oh,
We'll post that on our
absolutely.
channel. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
gonna post it. I'm gonna do like you did. I'm gonna record the whole process.
Perfect.
Shot one, shot two. You guys will see me like cry. Hopefully not. I don't know. It depends. I am afraid of needles though. So that's why I only have one child. But anyway, YouTubers, we're 20 minutes in. We wanted to make it short. We wanted to make it brief and wanted Vanessa, Dr. Walker, to share her experience as well as the evidence and the data. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the last thing that we want to end on is that, as we know with COVID, as Angela was saying, we don't know who is going to get it hit really bad and who's going to be just fine. But the other thing is we still do not know the long-term side effects of COVID. We know that many people, you've heard of the long haulers that have these just symptoms that have gone on for weeks and months. And there could be people that have issues for potentially years. And then I know that then somebody would say, well, we don't know that about the vaccine too. And I will say to you that we know millions of people have now taken this vaccine. And we're not seeing, they're getting it and they're doing well. We're not seeing, people say that they're feeling terrible for weeks and weeks and weeks and months. They're getting it done. Some of them are having reactions. You've seen some people with allergic reactions, but it's been a handful of them. It's not like you're seeing, 1% of the population. It's like 0.000, it's a very small percent of the population are having anaphylactic reactions or bad allergic reactions, and they've all been treatable. They haven't died from them. You'll also hear in the news about some people that have had the vaccine and then have gone on to die within a couple of weeks. So far, everyone they've looked at has been because of other causes. People are going to die. People, when they did the vaccine trials, people in the vaccine arm died, but so did people in the placebo arm, because people are going to die from a variety of illnesses, no matter what, happens. So we are not seeing, people just dying in droves because of this vaccine, but I am seeing people dying in droves because of COVID-19. So that's what I want to end it on.
Okay. All right. YouTubers, thank you for joining us today, and be on the lookout because I am going to vlog my journey with the vaccine as a person that started off saying hell no. So you'll see how my journey on that, my experience. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be safe, be well, be kind to each other, and gentle with yourself. Bye-bye.
And keep living your life on 10.
Yes, life on 10.